everybody, my name is Maddie Jones and I'm the editor at Plus Model Magazine, and welcome back to part 2 of our amazing interview with Darlene and Sandra, our cover models for March 2022. So when we last spoke to you just 2 seconds ago in our interview, I literally I had to make this a part 2 because each one of you touched upon something that wasn't, in all honesty, was not part of the outline, but I think it's so incredibly important. Number one, when each of you decided to go full time, and this was no longer like, an option for you to have a 9-to-5 job, or how it happened for you, how did you guys make that decision? Because I think a lot of people are still struggling when they have that decision to be made.
It was definitely very different for both of us. I'm single. My son is a grown man already. She's a mom. She had a husband and a child at the time. So it was very, very different for both of us. She was first. So the pressure was kind of on me after a while because I'm like, I've been working since I was like 15 years old. And my dad, always looked up to him. He was always a working man. And, it was just what you did. I always had a job. And, she was now home. She was at the time full-time influencing and, obviously doing Blogger House as well. And, I was contemplating it and I'm like, I just have never not had that security of having a job, having insurance, having all that. And I'm just like, I'm not ready. And then unfortunately my company downsized and they moved to another building and they had someone there in my position already. So they unfortunately had to let me go. And I was devastated because I was not prepared. And
meanwhile, when she called me, I was like, oh,
yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God. I'm like, this is it. And I'm like,
so,
not to throw, honestly, not to throw any negativity or anything, but, we had a lot of discussions about the possibility or the idea of her going full time. And we had really been kind of at a turning point in the business where it was no longer like I mentioned in the last recording, it was no longer a side hustle. This was now a full-fledged business. It was sustaining us. There was an income coming in. We had a routine. We had a supply chain, and it was really tough for just me being full-time. And then we would work a lot in the late evenings because we had to wait for Sandra to get home. And not saying that she didn't put in a full-time's worth of work into the business, but because we had to wait for her to get home, and New York City commute can be we were starting to work at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, running through 1 in the morning at times. And it was just so crazy. Yeah.
So, at first I was scared, and you think about everything else, how am I going to continue to pay my bills? Obviously you get severance and all that stuff, but I know that I would have never done it on my own. I can tell you that now. It would have taken me a really long time to decide to just leave my job and do this full time. So, I my parents, my mom was very religious. I'm here, I believe in God and all that, but being around Darlene and Victor, who are very, they were very faith in God. And I've kind of learned from them. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let this stress me out. I feel that this is, God's way of saying this is what was supposed to happen. And that at the end of the day, if I feel that this is not going to work out, I can always get another job. It's not the end of the world. This is your time to give it a chance and see where it's going to go. And that, when I left my job, my ex-coworkers were amazing. My boss was like, hey, we got your back. If you need a reference for anything, we got you. We can give your name to this person, that. So I knew that I had a safety net if things didn't work out. And I, if it didn't, I always had another. It's you can always get another job. That wasn't the issue.
And guys, we and what we talked about in the last live was that we are a partnership, right? So we had conversations, and I had conversations with my husband, and I said, how can we support her in this? Can we float her if we need to float her? You and I together, we need to make it so that she feels comfortable in this situation. Because there could be a time that maybe, we split a rent, right? At that time, we didn't own the house, so we would split a rent. What if she doesn't have for the rent? Because it takes us some time to kind of there. So can we float that? Can we help her out with certain things? And we never really needed to do that.
No, thank God.
But, it was a real conversation, very much like the conversation I had with him when I went full time. It's like, all right, so like, this is a partnership, but you and I are a partnership. And like, how can we support her in what's happening? And so, we, thankfully, we had a lot of conversations around it. I wanted her to feel like, supported, that I was here for her, that I understood what she was going through in terms of, there's a lot of like mental stuff that happens when you leave the structure of a full-time job to doing everything on your own. There's tons of like pressure, there's tons of insecurity, there's fears, there's like all of these different things that no one really talks about. It's just like, oh, I went full time, woo, yes, think business is so good,
Meanwhile, you're like in a corner crying to like, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna pay my bills? Like, what if this business doesn't work out? Where do we go from here? Like, it's a lot.
And there's a lot of things that, you have to kind of work out. So I knew like that, I had gone through it and I knew that she would go through it. And so I wanted her to feel like, whatever you need, I'm here. Let's talk it out. Are you okay? Be open. Like, is money okay? Are you comfortable? How the bill's happening? Like, and then, we just you get into a swing of things as you do with most things. The biggest thing is, what's the most challenging when you go and you're running your own business is money management, because you don't have the stability of you're going to get your check every Thursday or every Friday or whatever the case is. And sometimes you might get really large checks, and it's really tempting to be like, ooh, that new Gucci bag. But then they're like, oh shoot, wait, I didn't pay rent yet. Or whatever the case is. So there is, so money management's really important, but also, like I said, the mental stuff, all the other things that you don't think about, you now need health insurance. Where are you going to get health insurance from? There's certain other things, like how are you going to manage vacation? That was a big one for us. And I was like, where to figure out vacation? Because this is not functioning for me. I need to be able to go and sit on a beach somewhere. So what do you do about vacation? What do you do about maternity leave? For me, when I was pregnant, there's nobody paying for maternity leave. We
worked up until the end, because your pipa was like,
yes, literally. So like a week before,
our customers in the live sale giving her recommendations on how to get the baby moving out, and this, it was like, it was too much.
So you work a lot when you are when you have your own business. You work a lot more than I think.
More, yes. People think it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna work for myself. I've never worked this hard in my entire life.
Yes,
in a 9-to-5 job ever.
And I feel like I'm always on. And that's something that we've both discussed, like about improving, because when you have a business, especially when you have a business in your own home, it's very easy when you get an email from the customer, hey, let me just go ahead downstairs and check. And sometimes I have to be like, oh no, it's Saturday. No, business is closed. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm out with the kids.
Still working on that.
Yeah, it's really hard.
No, it's hard. It took us up until last year to finally realize that, okay, Friday after we invoice, that is it. Saturday and Sunday,
that's smart.
We need it. She has a family. She has her, wants to spend time. I want to be able to spend time and do stuff for myself, or do whatever I want to do, and not have to think about the Blogger House and getting, notifications on my phone and this and that, because that's what we would do. It'd be like on a Saturday, like, oh my God, the customer, this, or we need to do this for this person. And it's just like, you have, for your own mental state, you need to separate that, a little bit of that, in order to continue to run a business, because otherwise you're going to get burned out. There's days that I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And it's good. And that's what it's
can't stop.
Yeah, I mean, totally honest. Like, there's days that it gets to the point you're like, is it really worth it? Like, this is really hard work. Like, but then, like, there's no other place where we're going to have, this kind of control over something that is ours, and we have the power to do whatever we want. And that's where we, people don't, think about that. I'm like, well, it's hard. It's, I get
touch people's lives. It's more than your business. You're also touching so many people's lives while you have a business, while you're growing the business and building the brand. You're also building a community. So there's definitely two aspects, because just you saying that, like, my heart broke. I was like, oh God, you could never stop. Like, Like, what? And I'm your friend. Like, I can literally see you. But the fact that I won't see you in that aspect, I'm like, oh no, I would be watching like reruns like of past lives. Like, seriously, I can't.
But I think you're gonna get to that point where you start to hate what you're doing.
And that's the good thing about having like a team where I know some people prefer to work independently, but when you have a team, like we check each other. There's times that she'll be like, I don't want to do this today. And I'm like, oh, you gotta tell me twice. I want back upstairs. Where'd you go, Tom? We're going to the park.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's hard for me to say something when, if I'm saying, oh, let's do it for next week, that
every day I wake up and I'm like, she wants to leave invoicing for tomorrow.
And I'm like, no, let's do it today because I don't want to do it on the Saturday and the Sunday. But there has been days I'm like, I see, let's leave it for tomorrow.
I'll be looking at flights and I'm like, I wonder if I can insert for us to take a week off next week.
So
will that work?
Yeah. So
So
I so see that.
Yeah. So you don't want, you have to take the time for yourself.
I also say that when I went full time, I was already planning for it. And I was married at the time. So it was I was married to a very A-type financial advisor who was very like, what the heck are you doing? I also had a very established career. Like I had worked at my career for a very long time. I had a very high title in my job. And it was a big decision. Like, do you leave everything that you've worked for? Like, this is what I trained for this like big question mark, right? And what I realized is that I had trained, yes, for that job, but everything I learned, it's not like it was going to go to waste. Mm-hmm. And I feel sometimes people feel like, oh, you just gave up your career for that, this thing you're doing. No, everything that you learned in that career is what prepared you to be able to take this risk. Mm-hmm. So I took the risk. I saved, and I always told my husband, I was like, let me tell you, because he's a numbers guy. So I was like, I have 6 months of rent and extra saved. If I can go 6 months and I don't have to ask you for a penny, I don't have to say, hey, can you cover my report? No, we go 6 months, then you will leave me the heck alone and you won't bother me about this anymore. But if those 6 months I come to you and I'm like, I kind of ran out of money, then I will go out and find a job. Because very much like Sandra, I was like, look, I know I have the skills. I can find another job if I need to go find a job. And the 6 months came and you never had to, worry about money. I always made sure my bills were covered and everything was covered. And that made me work harder because I was like, I am not asking him for a dime. Matter of fact, we going to dinner is my treat. Okay,
But not only because of that, also because you have to work harder.
Yeah,
it's not, you're not getting a check every week that it's going to be there. You have to work harder at this, which makes it more rewarding because then you can look back and be like, dang, I did that,
And like I said earlier in the other sale, your mindset changes. So it becomes now your business. So you start thinking strategically. You start thinking about how can I work smarter, not harder? What am I doing? How can I be more efficient at what I'm doing so that I am not killing myself or burning myself out, to get to the end result. So our systems improved dramatically once we went full time. We started creating a routine. We started we had an outline. We had everything structured. We started thinking about, we might have to hire someone. We started thinking about staffing people. And I was like, okay, we're willing to take these risks. You're willing to take more risks because now, again, it's no longer that hustle. This is now your business and your business needs to be fed in order to grow. So these are the things that it needed.
Yeah. And also just the money in general that we were able to do it twice a week. Every week. So that mindset of not having that paycheck coming in was starting to formulate into something like that because now we were consistent. Yeah. We were having a money flow coming in every week. So that would have never happened if I didn't, go full time or she didn't go full time. So you kind of have to as much as I didn't want to, once I did it, I felt, comfortable that we were going to be okay.
Yeah. And we came so fresh.
Each one of you took a leap of faith. Each one definitely did, for sure.
And let me tell you, we used to take 6 hours to invoice for one sale. And now we could do 2 sales. Yesterday we did 2 sales in 4 hours or something.
I mean, if we focus, because, sometimes we just fall, we're doing this, we're talking, we're looking at our phones. It also depends on the sale, how big it was.
But we've become much more efficient because now it's everything that you do, right? You're not compartmentalizing yourself into a lot of different things. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You guys have dropped so many gems in just what you said. One of the things I think that I appreciate the most, because people think that I have like a crazy work ethic because the way I saw my father work, my father was like work. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that you guys never said, you both said separately, if this doesn't work, I will go back and get a job. Not, I will go and get a GoFundMe and have other people pay my bills.
No. Oh, hell no.
Because I've seen that a lot. And I will contribute to GoFundMe when it's like, you know, a medical situation or something happens but because I think people jump the gun and they don't realize how much work it is to have your own business. And you guys jumped in and were like, wow, I really am working hard, but my plan B is I can go back and get a job. Not I'm going to ask other people for it. And I appreciate that so much that each one of you said, I still have the skills. I can still go back and get another job.
And it doesn't mean that we'll let go of Blogger House. It just means that we'll just need to get something like
back to a little smaller. And, I mean, whatever,
but that's the thing. I think that people, and, we've discussed our own, thoughts about like a Kickstarter campaign or GoFundMe, to grow Blogger House. One day we would love Blogger House to be in its own house. And we have really grand ideas of what we want Blogger House to be. But we are also very mindful because, we both have learned that you don't get something for nothing. Like, and if you're going to invest in our Kickstarter campaign, we want to make sure that what we're giving back is something of true value to you. Not just like invest in us because we're cute and we got this.
Right. I can't pay my electric bill. Can somebody give me money? And I'm just
not just because we're cute. Hey, we're here.
but we want to make sure that the people who are giving us this money want to know where it's going, and we don't want to be. We want to build this business, and we treasure anything that anybody wants to contribute to. So we would never let them down.
That's a really
and it's, I a lot of people don't know, but I actually do hold an MBA. So from a business standpoint, I want people to know that what they're investing is a solid business. Like there is a direct business plan. This money is going to be used for X, Y, and Z, not just, to paint the walls or whatever, get into the closet, so
get a new mannequin,
Roxy needs some more friends, so we've always been very like, a lot of people had told us like, oh, have you thought about like doing an investor round or doing a Kickstarter? And yes to all of that, because we understand that to grow, there's a lot of funding that we would need, and we do have visions of growth, but we want to be very clear and what we can offer as a return on that investment.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. So talk to me a little bit about balancing everything, because each one of you is also at a different point of your life. Like you have a grown child and you have 2 children and they're little. Like Michaela just started school. So how do you balance it all? Because I feel like that's still kind of like a daily journey for me.
There is
there is. The same way we are in the business, we are as friendship. Like we help each other out. And, I'm glad that I have her. She's, that she's glad that I'm here to help her. And just like our business, you want to be there for each other. I want to be there for her. I know she has a lot on her plate. Her husband has a full-time job, and wherever I can help her, because I know me helping her is going to help us in general, because, that's what you do for friends. You're here and I love them. They're my family. So we help each other a lot. And I don't know if we'd be able to do what we're doing if we didn't have each other as friendship and as in our business too. So it just kind of just falls into both the business and balancing our lives and our business.
And I think it's really important to understand, like, everything's a season, right? Like, and I think sometimes we feel like, as a mom, right? Sometimes you feel very overwhelmed and like, oh my God, all of this is happening. But it's a season, guys. Very similar to when I was managing the business full time and she was working full time and I took on more. That was a season, and that season passed. And then she came on and we split everything. Now we're in a season of that. I have 2 littles and things are really, really crazy. But you know what? In 3 years, he'll be in school too. And then that season will get a little bit easier. And that season will transition to. So for me, it helps to think about like, this is what's happening now. It's not going to be forever like this. And then balance is really hard for me as a mom of two, as a wife. My husband works a lot. We don't have like a lot of family here. And so we rely very heavily on each other and the very small circle of family and friends that we do have. But in that balance, it's setting boundaries. And there's certain boundaries that we've learned, especially the last year. I think with Noah coming, he was like the one that sealed the deal. Like, we need to set certain boundaries. Like, when we shut down on Friday nights, we shut down on Friday nights. You know, one of the things that I told her is like, when my husband has off from work, we have off from work. I don't care if we have to change the sale day. The case, you know, a lot of our customers are like, well, why don't we do Sundays or why don't we do Mondays? No, that's my husband's days off.
And that's what is great about having your own business, because you can do that. You know?
And it's like, these are the days that I can have, you know, all of us together for a certain amount of time. And, you know, we don't get that a lot during the week. So I have to treasure that time and enjoy it in quality time together. So setting those boundaries for me, because sometimes I'm also like, oh, but I want to get this done, or I have to get that done. Sometimes it has to get the wibble wobble on a little bit, but always going back to that core. Like, we have a family day once a week. Sometimes it's not the day, sometimes it's family half a day, but we always try to do something together because, you know, as a family, you know, you just need that. And that also this year for me, I've started to try more to set boundaries with my own personal space and my own personal time. So like, you know, we start working at a certain time because, but you know, in the mornings I was like, I want to work out. I want to be able to do this. I want to watch my hour on TV. You know, it's the only time I get to do it. And then we start working at a certain time. And that's what works also for, you know, us. Is also a balance for Sandra. Sandra likes, you know, to start working at a certain time. It works for me too, because it allows me to do a lot of things during the morning. So I think that being very clear in your boundaries and being communication, and then being like, not being the one to like say, well, let's just, you know, like being the first one to switch it around. You know, sometimes I would be like, all right, we're going to do this. And then I would feel guilty about it. And I was like, no, let's just do whatever we're doing. It's okay. I'll just, you know, whatever. I'll figure it out on this end. No, like what you want and what you need is also very important. And there's no guilt that is needed. Because whatever you need to do what you do, whether it is as mom, if you're even if you're single and it's just, you know what, I need to take my hour bath right here and go be it, you know?
Okay. I'm like, I'm just single one without the kids. Yeah. You know, I have less on my plate than she does, but that doesn't take away from what my time and what I need. You know, we all need that time.
And there's times that like Sandra has like a gig on a certain day and she'll like, I can't do this because I'm working on this gig. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, it's just like that communication is really key. But it's important to be able to, you know, prioritize like, oh, hey, I have this gig on this day. All right, cool. I'll work on something else during that time. But balance is hard. There's like no secret formula, guys. Like, you just have to find like your rhythm.
Yeah, it's different for everybody.
Love what you said, like the boundaries, setting your boundaries, making sure that you have time for yourself, you know, making sure you have that family time is important for you, you know, having your bubble time with your glass of wine is important for Sandra, you know, like making sure that you're still important, your personal space and your personal time is still important. That's a big takeaway. Like, I'm getting inspiration from you guys just looking at to me. I'm like, that's fine. I want my personal.
I still say, like, how does Maddie do it all? Like, I'm like, I don't even know. Want to be her when I grow up. I'm like, how does she do it?
But I have one. She has two.
Still, but you always still smile on your face. I'm not always like smiling, but I always say, think about this, right? And I told Sandra, and I actually told another friend of mine who's a new mom the other day. I was like, you know, when you're think about someone who, you know, you have certain pressures and not everyone has certain pressures. But I think about my partner, right? My husband. You know, when he wants to take an hour shower, he takes his hour shower. He doesn't think about like, are the kids screaming? Are they turning the house upside down? Because in his mind, my wife is out there and she's taking care of the kids. But do I take that hour shower? No, because I'm thinking, oh my God, my husband's out there and they're turning down the house. But you have to just let go.
Yeah.
Let go of some things. And you need to be able to say, I'm going to prioritize and take that hour shower. And whatever is out there happening, it's happening. Or they fend for themselves. Or, you know what, this time is so special and so important that I'm going to just enjoy it. And at first it might be a little difficult because I think that we all got kind of get into our heads. We're all kind of a little workaholics and we're all feel like a little guilty, right? Like you might feel like, oh my, I don't know, I've been out of the house for too long, or I should just get
I'm
back.
like, no, you're not, girl. I know. But because it's true, because it all circles back. Like if you're not in a good space, if you're not giving yourself that time, it's gonna come back to when we do our business. If you're not gonna, your headspace is not gonna be in a good place. Mine isn't, and that's just a recipe for a disaster. To be able to run a business together, we both have to be in a clear space and be happy in our lives, be happy what we're doing, and then everything else kind of just falls into place. Otherwise, it's really isn't.
And Sandra said it earlier, communication, because we talk about everything and everything. And
yes, her husband comes home and he's like, how do you guys still have stuff to talk about? You're in each other's face every day for like 20 hours a day. Like,
but it's important because she needs to know, like, if I had a bad day, if I didn't sleep the night before, if Noah woke up 15 times, if he pissed me off, she needs to know these things, because if I'm more quieter than normal,
and I know because I know her, I know her.
Or if I'm like, there you go, that's part of the life.
Yes.
If I'm more snappy, same thing with her. Sometimes she'll come up and I'm like, are you okay? And she'll be like, oh, I didn't sleep well, or my body hurts, or whatever. And so that communication is really, really key, because there's so many external factors and we work so close together. Because even sometimes she will tell me, like, you need to do this or whatever. And I'll tell her, I was like, hey, have you thought about going out with, like, your cousin? Go get, we check each other on, like, are you enjoying life? Because like, it can't always be work all the time. You need someone to be able to, that you talk to. I talk to my partner a lot about it, and I'm like, I'm tapped out. I need a moment. Like, have that open communication with whoever's close with you, whether it's a friend, a business partner, your spouse, your mom, your sister.
You're literally preaching to me. I literally
Whether it's a therapist, go tell your therapist, and tell you, figure out, like, how are you going to carve out those moments of joy in your life that don't surround around the deliverable, around someone needing you, that is just pure joy for you.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you guys were so great. And I feel like, I get to talk to you, and like, we're friends outside of everything else, and I'm still so inspired. Like, I feel like you spoke to me today as well as everybody.
Well, Maddie, big inspiration for us for a very long time.
We strive to be. We always look up to him, like, we get when we do it, like, we gotta be like Maddie, like, we gotta do this. Like, she's so, like,
you guys do a lot.
Inspiration, like you are. So, sometimes you need to hear that from other people, because we always, we're like our worst enemies at sometimes. So if anytime I can let someone know that they're doing an amazing freaking job, which you are, we're gonna tell you, okay?
And you definitely are. What you're doing for our community and what you've done for us and our business, and even the support, like, our business, we've said it from day one, has grown through the love and support of everyone around us. People like you, people like our squad, people entrusting us. It's not easy to hand over, your entire closet and say, okay, go sell it. And people trust us every single time, and trust that we're going to actually pay them and not run off with their clothes. Like,
no, and sell it. It's a constant thing, because even when you're selling, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, this was like 2 seasons ago. How are they going to sell this? And you're like, this goes with this, and this goes with this, how you layer. And I'm like,
Sandra always says, like, I could sell, water to a camel.
Listen, when you have a designer on the sale wanted to buy their clothes back because we were like talking it up so well, you're doing something right. They're like, dang, I want to kind of buy that. Now I'm sad I'm selling that. I'm like,
let me tell you guys, I love clothes. I love fashion. I love envisioning how you can rework pieces. And even though, like, it was a big hurdle for me to be able to sell my own clothes when we first started, like, I get it. I understand the attachment people have. So I'm going to love on your pieces like you loved on your pieces, because I understand that it wasn't easy for you to sell these pieces and to trust us. So when I talk about these pieces, I talk about them like if they're mine. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're getting rid of this, but let me tell you how you can style this. This is going to look so cute. And I'm gonna tell you 50 million ways of how you can style this one piece, because what I don't want that piece sitting in your closet collecting dust because you don't know how to wear it. And I get that not all plus size women are fashion bloggers, right? And so what might come easy or natural to us doesn't always come easy or natural to everyone else. So I want you to feel empowered to grab that piece. I don't want you to order and be like, oh, this is cute, let me put it in the back of the closet. No, I want you to put it on, feel beautiful, feel sexy, or feel gorgeous, whatever the case may be, and wear it and enjoy it, because that's why it was passed down.
Yeah. So if anybody has not been on the Blogger House Curvy Closet lives and on their sales, please tell them how they can follow you. Tell us about the sales and how they can personally follow you. Go ahead, Sandra, do it.
Guys, if you are looking to find us, we are basically Blogger House Curvy Closet on all social medias, Instagram, Facebook. I think we even have a Twitter. We don't really use it, and then we do have a website, www.bloggerhousecurvycloset.com. If you want to find out any information on how to shop with us, and if you want to sell with us, all the information is there as well. We encourage you to take, the time to go and maybe inspiration to come purge your closet. If you've always been wanting to do it but didn't know how to start, do it and have us come and sell your clothes for us and make some money off of it as well.
And anyone can sell with us. It's not only, there's sometimes people think that only bloggers can sell with us or influencers. Anyone can sell with us. So if you think that you have enough pieces to sell with us, reach out to us. A conversation is not going to hurt. We'll tell you, what the process is, and we'll get you started. And purging is one of the best things that you can do to reset your mind frame, reset your life. Don't keep things in your closet that are the ex-boyfriend gave you, or when you were 50 pounds or 50 pounds lighter. Just don't do it. Don't do it. That was me. I had wardrobes for 5 different women in my closet. The skinny Darlene, the fat Darlene, the super fat Darlene, the midway Darlene. No. I ended up purchasing everything for the Darlene that is now. That's it. There's not but when I lose 10 pounds, or just in case I gain 10 pounds. No. Get rid of that stuff. That stuff is toxic, guys. You don't want that in your lives. And start fresh, start new. And that's the best thing about Blogger House, is that we make it very easy for you to refresh your wardrobe without breaking the bank. And that's
bless somebody else in the process. I love when they go back and they put it on and they take a picture and they go to the Facebook group and they're like, oh, I bought it from Maddie's closet. I'm like, oh my God, they look so cute. It's so nice to see that.
It's great. And if you're if you want to know how, a sale goes, come and just watch a sale. We have sales every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
There's no cost for attending. Yes, you don't have to make a purchase. You can even lurk. You can just sit there. You don't even have to say your name.
Yeah, and then watch.
And you can just watch, and you'll start to understand why this is addicting. Even for us, why it's addicting, because it's just a pretty great community. And I know that in this time where most of us are making connections through the web, it can be very scary and it can be very intimidating. And thankfully, we've created a group of women that are just warm and caring and want to see everyone grow. So if you're looking for some friends and you have fashion, in common, come join us.
Excellent. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. This was so nice and so enjoyable. And thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.